Miss Tamara Hartley here, aka the Vintage Hourglass. Today on this video, I'm going to be talking about some hair essentials for achieving vintage looks. I've had quite a few requests of people asking, what do I need to start doing vintage hair? So I'm going to go through a few of those items today with you. Now, please do keep in mind, I'm not by any means a professional hairdresser. I have learned how to do my hair from watching YouTube videos myself, watching how other people have done my hair in vintage stylings, and just honestly trial and error. So if you are looking to get into vintage hair, don't stress. Just take it one stage at a time, one style at a time. Everyone's hair is going to be different in terms of how it reacts to back combing or setting. So there's no right answer for everything. Sometimes you just got to figure it out on your own. And the products I'm going to show you today are things that I personally love to use when I'm trying to achieve vintage hairstyling looks. Now, these are definitely not all things that you need to have. So I'll let you know what I think are essentials if you are just starting out and things that are nice to have. So here we go. Okay, brushes are probably a really good place to start. I personally have like 4 different brush and comb combinations that I like to use, and they all serve a different purpose. I think anyone who's starting out in vintage hairstyling should definitely get themselves a tail end comb. As you'll see, mine's been very loved. The tail end comb is great for being able to part your hair. It just really helps with any kind of back combing. It's a very easy tool to use and will seriously be your friend, especially when you're setting your hair to help you get even sections throughout. The next brush I'm going to show you is my back combing brush. So whenever I've done large sections of teasing, I'll normally use this to help smoothen out the front, which I've done on the side bits of my hairstyle today. So this is it. It's just a nice short bristle. It's also got plastic in there as well as your actual bristles. It's very hard. So the good thing I like about this back combing brush, which you can get in many shapes and forms, is that it nicely brushes the surface of the hair without taking out the back combing that I've just done with my tail end comb. It gives me a nice smooth finish, but I still have the volume, which is key when you're doing a vintage hairstyle. Now over to my 2 favorite brushes. The first one is a dual bristle brush. This one I use for doing my brush outs for these kind of hairstyles. After I've taken my set out, I will use this to create fluffiness to help me get that wave and definition, but it doesn't fully brush out the curls. So it does help brush through them, but it also keeps them fluffy and keeps a little bit of volume in there, which is really great. This second one here is my everyday brush. I use this if I'm not doing a brush out after a set. I will use this just to like pop my hair up in a bun, or if I've had the set in for a couple of days and I'm fine to kind of fully brush it out, I will use this one. This will get through knots. So I use this just as my everyday brush. Both of those are by Denman. Something else that I have in my comb brush collection is just this very wide comb. It's by Lady Jane, so you can just pick these up at the supermarket. I use these after I take out a set just to help me kind of fluff out and separate those curls so that when I'm brushing it, I've got more control and it doesn't feel as knotty and tangly. So this just helps me to separate my curls after I've done a wet set. I personally find it really good to use. Again, it's not an essential. I think if you were going to pick an essential, I would make sure that you just have a really good comb, a back combing brush, which you can get really cheap, like for a couple of dollars at a chemist. They're usually a lot thinner than this one, but a back combing brush, and just maybe one other brush that you would use to brush out your sets, and just for an everyday brush. So next I'm going to move on to bobby pins, clips, that kind of area. So I always make sure that I have nice big alligator clips. I also will have these thinner ones as well. So I use these when I'm brushing out my set, or even if I have finished and I'm doing my makeup, I'll use these to kind of clip my hair behind, which it also won't ruin the brush out. These just really, really come in handy, so you can never have too many of them. And your next one is your pin curl clip, which is a smaller version. So these you would use if you're doing a hot set, helps to just keep the pin curls in there while they're cooling down before you brush them out. Not essential, but I guess just a nice thing to have, especially if you are going to be doing more heat sets rather than wet sets. So next we move on to our trusty bobby pin. These are the ones that I use. I love them because they have a nice flat edge to them on one side. So they just go into my hair easily. I feel like they don't come out very easily, and they definitely hold the hair because they're quite taut, which you can feel when you're trying to separate them. So these are a really good one. I believe they're called 999s. I get them from like Chemist Warehouse or Hair House Warehouse, any kind of hairdressing salon shop that I find in my local shopping centre, I feel will stock these, and you get a ton of them, so you will never run out. You might, but I don't think you will. The next one, which is just kind of a nice essential one to have, again, like it's not, I think it's an essential, but that's just for me maybe. It might not be an essential for everyone, and these are like fringe clips. So they're a very thin clip, bobby pin, and these are used, I personally use them after I've styled my hair. If I can see like a little flyaway, I might want to use this to kind of anchor it down, or if I feel like it's going to blow in the wind too much, I'll use these to kind of help me manipulate where I want the hair to sit. And if I've got enough teasing in there, they will hold as well. Now, another cool little trick with these is what you can actually do is just use your tail end comb to bend one of the ends like such, so that when you actually pop it into your hair, that acts as an anchor and it hooks in, so this pin won't come out. And then you can just bend them back once you're finished. Look, if you're just starting out, just make sure you have good bobby pins. That is really the key, I think, to a good vintage hairstyle, is a good bobby pin, because if they're good, you won't need a lot of them. In this hairstyle, I maybe have 5 at most. I could probably count them where they are. Oh, 4. So I've only got 4 bobby pins because it's a good bobby pin. I've also done a lot of good prep work in terms of my teasing within my hair, so I didn't need many. When I do victory rolls, I use 1 bobby pin. And again, it just comes down to the fact that it's a good bobby pin, but I'm also doing good prep work in terms of not needing to use a lot of bobby pins. So get yourself a good bobby pin. Next, I'm going to move on to setting your hair. Now, you can use a curling tong if you want to do a heat set. I personally have not really ventured too far into the heat set side of things. I tend to prefer doing a wet set, and I've always found that when I'm doing that on myself, I tend to get the best results. So there's a few different tools that I've used in terms of wet sets. I will go in order of my least favorite to most favorite, just because as I've gone on through the years, I've tried different things and I've kind of found now what I love. But when I first started, I started using the foam roller. This is your foam roller. So what you would do is you roll your hair around this piece of foam, you roll it up nice and tight, and then you use this to clip and lock the hair into place. Snap. I used these for a little bit when I first was starting out in pinup and burlesque and stuff like that, but I don't know, I just found like my hair wasn't consistently curled. It might have been the technique that I was using to roll them, I don't know, but I didn't love them. The next thing I tried was brush rollers. Now, when I was living in Perth, these were great. I personally found them amazing. And because Perth has just such warm weather, as opposed to here in Melbourne, I could set my hair in brush rollers in the morning, and by like mid-afternoon, my hair would be dry and I could take them out. And the thing that I loved about brush rollers is that there wasn't a lot of brush out that I had to do afterwards. As the name suggests, as you kind of pull them out, it does like the first brush for you. So they're really good. If you're living in a warmer climate where your hair dries a lot quicker, then brush rollers could be something to try. You don't sleep in them though. I have done that once before and it was painful. So not recommended to do if you're having to do an overnight set. But this is a brush roller. So as you can see, it's got lots of little brushes within there that spike out from the actual roller itself. So you wrap the hair around, twirl it up, and then you use these pins to secure them in place. So you can get them in different sizes as well. I think that was the other thing with using brush rollers, is I got a very different result to how I set my hair now, because I had so many different sizes. I wasn't really getting that wave that I personally liked. So I would mainly use these if I was doing like a half up, half down, or if I was doing a full poodle. But for the styles that I prefer to do these days, my go-to is the Bendy Roller. These I just got from Kmart. They come in 2 different colors. The purple is the smaller of the 2, and there's also a pink. I honestly will just use the purple because it gives more consistency. I like the tightness of the curl that I get. And to be honest, if I'm going to use the pink ones, it'll really just be if I'm going to do a poodle, because it doesn't really matter if the hair curl is consistent, because you're going to be putting it all on top of your head anyway. But if I'm doing a brush out like I have done today, this is what I set my hair with, Bendy Rollers. I think you maybe get 5 or 6 in a packet. I probably bought 4 packets, I would say, and I love them. I can sleep in them quite easily, and I really love the curl that I get from using the Bendy Roller. I've only been using them for about a year. So prior to this, I was using foam rollers, brush rollers, and I was also doing pin curling as well, which doesn't involve any tools at all, just your hands and bobby pins. So maybe if you are starting out and you don't want to commit to one of these and you want to try curling your hair in a wet set, then trying pin curling would probably be the way to go. Now that we're on the subject of setting our hair, I have a couple of key products that I use in terms of setting it, and then once I've brushed it out in terms of styling. So I'll maybe go through them, I guess, in order of use. The first one is my setting lotion. Here in Victoria, we have a wonderful local supplier of setting lotion, Poinson Apple. I'll pop some links below as well, so you can find out where to buy Poinson Apple too. But it's a great product. It smells delicious, and I really like it because it doesn't leave my hair crispy when it dries. You can use a little or use a lot and get a very different result. So it really just depends. If I'm wanting to do a more casual brush out, I won't need a lot, but it makes a difference. If I feel like I want to do something that's a lot more definition to it, I'll use more setting lotion, because it just helps the hair to embrace the roll of the curl that you're doing when you're setting it with your rollers. And the brush out itself, it kind of just has more hold to it from using the setting lotion. If you're just starting out again and you don't want to commit to a particular brand of setting lotion, that is totally fine. If you're doing a wet set, sometimes water can be enough to get the results, especially if you're just starting out. So no pressure to go buy a setting lotion whatsoever. But if you do want to get one, Poinson Apple should be your go-to. So then after I have brushed out my hair, I'll pretty much just go in sporadically with hairspray. The hairspray that I use is by Cedel, which I just get at my local supermarket. I get the pink one because also it's cute. And I have been using this hairspray forever. I just find it a really good working hairspray because it doesn't make your hair stiff right from the first application. So I can brush out my hair, give it a little bit of a spritz underneath to try and get the curls to hold. I can keep working on my hair, maybe come back to a section, reshape it a little bit, spray it. It's one that builds up, and the more you build it up, the more hold you're going to get from it. It also reacts really well to heat, which I would normally use if I'm going out to like a pinup competition, or if it's a very windy day. I will also heat set my hair after I've brushed it out. I will liberally apply my hairspray and then get my hairdryer on a low fan, low setting, high heat, and I will kind of just use the hairdryer to help set. And I find that the Cedel works really well for that. So if you're in Australia, I get this from Woolworths. You can get it online as well. It's just easy and it's pink. When I'm doing a half up, half down, I sometimes like to get quite a lot of volume in my poodle, as I have today. So as I'm going through my hair and back combing it, I will sometimes tend to use a volumizing powder as well. At the moment, I'm using Schwarzkopf, which again, I just got from my supermarket, so it was really cheap. And it's called Push Up Volume Powder. And it's just really easy, just like a couple of little like taps of it. Looks like talcum powder, just helps to really get that tease to hold. I myself especially find that after I've washed my hair, if I'm going in and teasing it, there's not enough grip in the hair for it to really make an impact. So I find that the volumizing powder just helps that tease to hold and to build up as well as I'm teasing other sections. It also really helps when I'm putting my bobby pins in, because it kind of grips to the hair. Not only have I got the tease in there, the volumizing powder gives it that kind of extra grip, and I find that works really well when I'm doing updos. So I don't use this all the time. It's definitely not an essential, I would say, but if you are going to be doing a lot of updos with freshly washed hair and you're like me and find that teasing just doesn't really work that well with freshly washed hair, then a volumizing powder might be something that you'd want to go to and use. So my hair's brushed out, I've hairsprayed it, I've set it, I've volumized it, I'm pretty much done. But recently I have started using one last product to give it that final, that final little glow, that final touch. And it's a pomade. I've never been a pomade person. I've never really used it before. But our lovely friends over at Poison Apple have recently made toffee apple pomade, and I just love the packaging. It's beautiful. And the thing that I like about this is it's not too sticky. You really don't need a huge amount. Just rub it between your fingers until it warms up, and I just kind of smooth over everything with my pomade. Like, as I said, like, it's not sticky, which is good. But I feel it kind of just gives that final touch to your hair once you've styled it. That's not an essential item if you're just starting out doing pinup hair, but maybe once you've done it for a little bit and you just want to kind of up your game, this is going to be something that you're going to want to get. So I guess in conclusion, you don't need a lot to start out doing vintage hair. I started with a comb, a brush, and some bobby pins. Like, in all honesty, this is not how I started. This is what I have grown to use and have added to over several years of practicing pinup hairstyling. I think in terms of what your essentials are, get a good comb, get a good brush, get some good bobby pins, get a hairspray that you like to work with. As I said, the Cedel is my personal favorite. It might not work for you. So find products that you like and just see how your hair goes. From there, you might find that you want to sprawl out and use a Bendy Roller or get some really good setting spray to up your set game. It's really up to you, and it's your journey in your pinup hairstyling. You've got to decide what you're going to be adding next to the story. So that's it from me today. Thank you so much for joining me on my essentials to pinup hairstyling. As I said, you don't need to go all in if you're just starting out. Just having a few key essentials is really all you need. I'll pop as many links as I can down in the description, and if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. I hope you all have a great day, and please make sure to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to click the bell so you get notifications of my next video, and I'll be seeing you all soon.